How
Cool.
are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
Good.
Nice to meet you. Where are you coming out of?
Houston, Texas.
Houston. I had a feeling you were in Houston. Are you okay with what happened with the Astros? Are you a baseball fan?
I'm okay. I like baseball, but I'm not a die-hard fan, so I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good. I feel bad for my friends that are super die-hard fans, so
Yeah. Yeah. Baseball's it really pulls it out of you. I remember when Kansas City was in it for the 2 years in the World Series. It's exhausting. You're you're waiting for the games to start. You're going through the whole stress. It's crazy.
everybody is, and I'm trying to stay out of that energy because I'm running. I've been so busy lately, with
Yeah.
Flip Lok, and so it's like if I get pulled into that, then I'm in the rabbit hole of what's everybody doing,
Uh-huh.
how are they doing, what's going on, and so I
Yep.
have to stay focused. Plus, I have kid that
Yeah.
lives at home, and so I still need to do that. And so I got to decide where my time goes.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
Now, if they get to the World Series, I'm definitely going to want to be
Yeah.
watching that.
Uh-huh. That's it. That's the creme de la creme.
Should I
Well,
say when they get to the World Series?
when they do, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and I heard that Dusty Baker's not coming back, so it'll be a whole
I
new
know.
thing. Yeah. So we'll
Yeah.
see. Lots of things happen over the course of a year for sure.
Yes. Where are
So
you out of?
I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, cool. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be going to Kansas sometime soon. I don't know where. Not
Okay.
Missouri, but Kansas. Missouri, I think we have a school in Missouri too that's getting ready to put flip locks in.
Oh, excellent. Well, Kansas, we're all kind of in this conglomerate. We're real close to each other. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's all the
Okay.
same thing. So
Okay.
the only memory I have of Houston was in the late 90s. I was working for an architectural engineering firm and I got off the airplane and it was so hot. I'd never felt heat like that. I was like, oh my God, what is this?
It's the humidity, although I will say the secret is it gives us really good skin.
That's it. There you go. Glass half full. I love it.
Gotta look at the positive.
That's it. Absolutely. Well, Anna, it's great to meet you. And I want to begin our conversation with what we lived through for the last 3.5 years, which was the pandemic. How did you get through it? And how did it change you?
Well, I officially got really, really sick for 5 weeks, right? So it really
Oh,
took a
wow.
toll personally, where I was really, really ill. But before I got sick, and before we didn't even know what it was, right? Most people got medicine, and I got nothing. Like, we don't know what's wrong with you, kind of deal, right? And the hospital and all that. It was really intense for my family because, when we realized it was contagious, I was isolated, and I have my mother-in-law that I take care of also, so I was really concerned about her safety and health. So it kept me super isolated. So for me, it was a pretty isolating 5 weeks. I was literally sick for 5 weeks. And then I had my youngest daughter. So first I had to think right away about my health. It started and then things were starting to close, but we weren't there quite yet. And so my health really hit me first. And it really gave me a perspective of, wow, I really need to take a step back and first figure out why am I so sick? I had no idea. But for business, it was, what do we do, when things started closing, and which companies can we keep open and which ones do we have to close, because some of them are essential, some of them are not. And what do we do to support most of the people that work for us in some of my one of my companies, I have a lot of moms, and some of them are single, and I just couldn't bear not supporting them. And so we continue to support as much as we could, even though we're small companies, because a lot of the people that work for me are, been with me for a long time. And so it was trying to meander through, do we open? Do we have people come in? Now that when the schools started closing, it was like, we can't have people come in because most people need to watch their babies, and we're family people. We understand it. And so we had to work all those nuances and also at the same time keep the bills paid. And
Yeah.
also, it just became very treacherous to try to balance, work, life, health, people, because we weren't the only ones dealing with this. Everybody was so uncertain what was going to happen. And it was just a whole new world for us, to traverse through with our kids. We had kids coming home from college that were in college, and it was so devastating for them because, they had their friends and their life. And then my youngest not being able to go to school with her friends, and then me trying to run the businesses, support my teams, plus, help my daughter do her homework that she was homeschooling on, it was chaotic for me, to say the least, in a
Yeah,
nice
I
way.
bet.
and it wasn't anything I could really get my hands around. I just did the best I could each day and took one day at a time.
Yeah, that's it. That was the key. So let's get to the essence of what you do for a living. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third grade students. It's
Okay.
career day. One of the
Okay.
kids says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
I said, well, I'm an entrepreneur, so I find there's problems in the world and I try to find the solutions to those. And right now, my main focus is helping empower students like yourself to go into action to protect themselves during a scary situation that comes in, that where you might have to lock the door, or you may want to protect the door where we don't have to think about putting desk in front of the door. You just flip it, it drops, it locks, and then you just go with your teacher and everything is going to be taken care of from there.
So that'd be the perfect place for you to describe that as in a school,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
In the third grade, that's a really good question, because I think that I lived such a hard life, that I just wanted to be able to do stuff everybody else did. I
Yeah.
wanted to be able to afford things. I think I saw things differently because we had such a hard background, right? And I didn't really think about what my future was. I thought about what tomorrow was going to be.
So
So,
what were the seeds that were put into you to become an entrepreneur and to help people? How did that happen?
well, I think it was, as a young daughter to a big family, I was the oldest. So I always took care of my siblings and I always felt like responsible, like I wanted to help them and do things for them so that they didn't have to feel stressed or the way that I felt. So I always made sure they had food. I would cook. I would do a lot of things as a young child, a very young child. And I think maybe third or fourth grade, yeah, I was cooking and coming home and taking care of my siblings, because it was just the way that my dad was legally blind and we had to really help out, and I had to help out a lot in my family. And so I think it gave me this sense of responsibility, to really, do more and really try to just help out in my family.
So you had to have really inspirational people around you. Who was a hero for you?
Who was my hero? Well, a hero for me around me, you mean?
Yeah.
Um, well, I think it was one of my teachers. I had a teacher, an art teacher, Miss Smith, and she was so amazing. And she was always this put together woman. She always had a smile, and she always made me feel, like I was important. She would always just tell me, Anna, you look great today. How was your day? And just really cared about me. I never had anybody ask me like, what do you want to, how was your day? Or, is there anything you'd like to do? And I was like, wow, I don't know. I never had these questions. So it opened up this world of, what do I want to do, and who do I want to be? And I think when I was younger, I wanted to be this superhero that could help all these kids, get out of situations that they weren't, that they were going through. And I was going through a lot at that time, as a third grader.
So if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend some time with them, who would it be?
I think it would be, as there's one particular person, but it's like what do you call it? It's like everybody says that person, but for
Yeah.
me, it's different. It would be Oprah Winfrey,
Yeah.
because she has gone through so much in her life, and she has steadfast stayed her focus, stayed true to herself, no matter what other people said. And then she went out and she made a difference in other people's lives through her platform. And I think for me, that's important, because not only did yes, she's successful, of course, but she went through a lot to get to where she is. And instead of going, I'm going to listen to this person and not do my dream, and I'm going to, she didn't. She stayed focused and still went out and achieved great things. And I believe that, women who can continue to do that despite the challenges they're thrown at them, especially in her time, because it wasn't so many women in, business or power or even voices at that time, and then to be a minority woman on top of it was just, it's so intriguing to me. And I really admire her, and everything that she does, from her schools to her just being the platform for people to share their stories and really be authentic. I think that really does something to me. It really, I connect with that. It resonates with me.
So speaking of that connection, what's been your inspiration to get up every day, to get out of bed, to make yourself better, to find a more successful place in life? What's that been for you?
My inspiration, well, I'll tell you, when I was young, I was 21, I was in a car accident. I almost died. They read me my last rites. Somebody did die. I was not driving, but and it was a bad situation where I had a designated driver that wasn't designated. So long story short, I lived. They gave me 3 days to live. They read me my last rites. I had internal bleeding. My liver was lacerated, and I was in ICU for a while. And when I got out, I was in a wheelchair for about a month. So for me, that really, I had this like, oh my gosh, I get to live and I get to try something different and I get to be here. There's a reason I'm here, and I need to be somebody that this person that's not here anymore can be proud of, to know that I'm trying to make a difference in life. And I always tell people, when that moment came and they were reading me my last rites and they were talking to me and my dad's holding me in my hand in the hospital, I said, I looked to my left and I looked to my right and nobody was coming with me. So I'm not going to allow anybody to tell me my value, and I'm never going to do that to anybody else. And I looked down and I had nothing on, absolutely nothing, bed sheet, nothing was coming with me. So in that moment at 21 years old, I realized the most important thing I had in the world was who I am, what I leave the world as, and how many people I can hopefully inspire if I ever got out of that bed or that wheelchair. And I think that's what I try to do every day.
Wow. So tell me, what's one of the best success stories you've had with Flip Lok? Best client, something that always makes you smile.
Well, the best one, let's see. It was probably the very first, we had a small school in Houston, a private school, and the head of the school had been looking for 3 years. She said for this something to do in her schools to make her school safer. She's connected to a bank. They actually had somebody come into their school. So she was always worried about her children being able to go to action and having her teachers protected. So when she found Flip Lok, she contacted us and said, I want this in my schools. And so we put it in, and then later on, she let us come in. Channel 2 did a news story, a local news story about it. But then if I call her, I go visit just to talk to her, her kids, they all are so empowered and they just want to show you what they've done and that they have this system down. So for me, that's been such a rewarding feeling, because when I see a 5-year-old telling me, Miss Anna, I know how to do it, I know what I'm going to do, it's just so rewarding for me. And that really brings me joy.
So of all the things that you've done, accomplished, overcome in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Being a mom. I didn't think I was going to be a mom. I never thought I was going to have kids, because being an oldest of 7, I had a lot of experience raising kids. And so in my mind, I was like, oh no, I know what that is. No, thank you. I'm over that deal. I couldn't get far enough away from it, but I am so grateful and thankful, and not only for my biological daughter, but for all the stepchildren that I have. And I love them, like my own. And I feel like, they were put in my life for a reason, and we're here to help each other grow and learn together. And I love being a mother. And I don't mean they have to be my biological kids. And that's why this mission for Flip Lok is so big to me, because I feel they're all my children. They're babies, they're our children, they're our future. And so for me, that's the biggest gift.
Yeah. What's the best advice that you've ever gotten in life?
Oh, this is not too long ago either, because I've never been front and center, right? And so as you put yourself out there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready, I'm not this, I'm not that. And she was like, Anna, do it, and I promise you won't make the same mistake twice if you mess up. And I was like, that is really okay. Now I don't have to be perfect, I don't have to figure it all out. I'm gonna go, and you know what, I might make a mistake, but you know what, I promise you I won't do it twice. And so now I pass that on to everybody, because it's
That's
powerful.
awesome. Yeah, that's great. So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm just a mom right now on a mission to do what I feel called to do. I don't, we don't do titles in our companies, we don't do any of that. I feel like I'm on a team, and I'm blessed by all the people that are coming and joining my team. And I feel like it's creating this tribe of people that keep pushing me, so that whenever I doubt, or if I have that little voice of self-doubt, I can turn it really low and not listen to it, because I know I have these people around that are supporting me in my mission.
What's the best thing about living in Houston?
Definitely not the weather. I think it's the diversity, the diversity and the connectedness of Houston. It's a big, small city. I was born in Houston. I was born and raised. I love Houston. And I feel like there's so many diverse people, but there's community and there's so many different business opportunities here. And I've been very blessed because of the dynamics that are in Houston.
So if anyone wants to learn more about you, Flip Lok, reach out, hire you, anything about your world, where do they go?
They can go Anna Reger Official, or they can go fliplok.com, and they can contact me at anna@fliplok.com.
Anna, this has been great. What a great story of overcoming and triumph. Thank you for sharing, and best of luck with everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Take care.